Hi, I'm Sayakat Cosplay and it is spooky season. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to make your own vampire teeth. This is a super easy get your own vampire teeth that fit your teeth really well, and all you need is some moldable plastic, a couple of tools, and about a half an hour of your time. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how you can make your own vampire teeth. To make your own vampire teeth, you're going to need some sort of moldable plastic. You can get something like this, which is called thermomorph. There's things called friendly plastic. I also have Instamorph. It goes by a bunch of different names, but basically you need moldable plastic. So it's all these little tiny plastic beads, which you're then going to melt and make into your teeth. In addition to your moldable plastic, you might want to have some small scissors for trimming plastic. And I have a bunch of molding tools. So these are silicone tipped molding tools, as well as different types of metal tipped molding tools. These are just going to help you shape and form the tooth and make small adjustments when you get to a point where you're happy with how the tooth fits, but maybe you need to adjust what the shape is. To heat up and make these plastic beads moldable, you can do that in one of two ways. You can do that with either a heat gun, or you can do it with hot water. If you're going to be doing it with hot water, you're going to need water that is boiling or almost boiling. It's very, very hot to get these to melt. Because we're only working with a very small amount of plastic, I would recommend to actually use a heat gun and not use the water method. But if you don't have a heat gun and you only have access to hot water, I would suggest that. You can't really use a hairdryer, it doesn't get hot enough. In addition to something to heat up your plastic with, you're going to need something to contain the plastic. You can use a silicone baking cup. I'm just going to use a roll of tape to keep them from scattering all over my desk when I use the heat gun. If you're using water, you don't need this. This is just to keep the plastic from going everywhere. You aren't going to need that much plastic for each tooth. So I'm just going to take a very small amount of beads, stick it in here, and start heating them up. The other thing you're going to want to have is a mirror so that you can put the tooth in your mouth and fit it in your mouth. Yes, this is a hairbrush mirror. I love this thing. So you want a mirror to be able to look at the tooth in your mouth, fit it, shape it, see what it looks like when it's actually in your mouth. As you can see, the beads kind of go everywhere. They will get clear as they heat up. As they heat up, they will turn clear and get sticky. They will stick to each other. They will stick to you. It's pretty easy to handle. It's not like super hot to the touch. If you heat it up a lot, it will get very warm and be hard to handle, and you don't want to put it in your mouth. So the reason why you want to work with it on a silicone baking mat is it gets sticky when it's really, really warm. So I'm just gonna make sure all of the balls, the little tiny pieces, are all well incorporated. I'm just gonna roll that around for a bit. And now you can start shaping it into a tooth shape. Okay, that's roughly a tooth shape. It's still malleable. What I'm gonna do is heat it up a little bit more, and then I'm going to try it on and shape it around the tooth that this is going over. It's kind of hard to show the process of fitting this on camera, but basically when it's still malleable and warm, this is starting to cool down, so it's not right now, but when it's malleable, you can put it in your mouth. It's not going to be too hot, and fit it around your tooth. So this is what it looks like after I stuck it in my mouth and let it cool completely over my tooth. You want to let it set till it's completely hard while it's in your mouth so that it fits your tooth basically perfectly. You also want to make sure to bite down while it's in your mouth so that the bottom dentition also leaves a mark. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see here that my bottom teeth have left marks on the back of this. This is gonna help your bite fit more naturally when the tooth is in your mouth. And so you wanna let this cool completely over the tooth so that when you're ready to do your final refinements on this, the tooth pocket is basically perfect and it's gonna fit on your tooth and stay on your tooth. You know, you get those like spirit Halloween teeth and you have to like mix up some like putty and stuff and then fit it onto your tooth. That's basically what you're doing here, except with the whole material of the tooth. While it was in my mouth, this is clear when it's warmer, so I could see where my gum line was and where the top of my actual canine tooth was. So I marked out with my fingernails where the excess material was and what I need to take off. So I'm gonna take my tiny scissors and start trimming that extra material off. These tiny scissors are from Famore, by the way. I love them. I have an affiliate link for them. Link is in the description box down below if you want to get your hands on a pair of these little tiny scissors. Okay, cool. That's looking more like a tooth. However, there is now a sharp edge up here that you're going to want to make sure isn't sharp. And we're going to want to refine the shape of the tip of this tooth. So I'm going to take the heat gun and heat it up a tiny little bit to make sure that this edge isn't sharp. I've got no weird things that are going to bug my mouth, and to make this more pointy. So I'm going to use the low setting on my heat gun. Carefully heat it up, just a little bit. This is where the silicone tip tools come in handy. So I'm only trying to heat up part of the tooth, not the whole tooth. This is a little bit of a tricky, finicky process. If you don't get it right the first time and you mess up, guess what? This stuff, you can heat it up, melt it down, and do it all over again. It's super forgiving. You can use it over and over and over. So if you're not happy with the shape of the tooth, you can just redo it. Also, if you're not happy with the fit of the tooth, you can, you know, heat it up again and try it on and redo the fit. It's super forgiving. It's super easy to use. Friendly plastic is really cool. It's great for making teeth. Okay, so I've blended over that top edge. I'm just gonna stick it on my tooth to make sure that it still fits correctly. It does. Before I move on to shaping the bottom of the tooth, I'm gonna let this cool down and harden so that the only part of the tooth that is changing is going to be this bottom tip. Okay, tooth is cooled down, so now I'm going to work on refining the tip section of the tooth. Okay, now that I have a pretty fangy shape, I'm going to stick that in my mouth and see how that fits and if I need to make it shorter, longer, etc. Okay, that length is pretty good. What I'm going to do now is work on it just to refine the shape, make it fit a little bit better in my mouth. So this is pretty much 90% of the way done. And if you're happy with it, you can leave it there and you have yourself a nice little tooth. It's a little tiny bit wide and a little bit tall. So I'm just gonna start taking a little bit of material off, refining the shape, and I'll show you guys the final result. All right, I have both teeth finished. One tip is once you've finished the first tooth, leave that in your mouth so that you can match the second tooth to that first tooth. The second tooth, you're gonna do exactly the same way that you do the first tooth, but you know, just on the other side of your mouth. Thanks so much for watching. If you have a question, don't forget to leave a comment down below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and feel free to hit that subscribe button and bell notification for the next time I put up a new video. All right, folks, stay spooky. I'll see you later.